Happy Monday. Welcome back to our math lessons. Today's objective is to use variables to represent quantities and write equations. So we're going to be using variables to represent quantities, and then we also need to write equations. So let's take a look at our first example. The ages of 3 siblings are all consecutive integers. The sum of all their ages is 39. How old is the youngest sibling? When we did these back in, I want to say January, we talked about this word consecutive. This word consecutive means in a row. So if I said, what are 3 ages consecutive to 5? Well, that would be 6, 7, and 8. What's consecutive in the alphabet to A? Well, after A comes B, C, D, E, F, and so on. So it means in a row, one after the other. So if we have the ages of 3 siblings, that would be, if they're all consecutive, that would be like 10, 11, 12, 6, 7, 8, 15, 16, 17. The sum, however, of all of their ages is 39. We know that this word sum means that they all add up to 39. We want to figure out how old is the youngest sibling. So if we're trying to figure out how old the youngest sibling is, we need to identify who they are. We don't know who they are, so we're going to call them X. X is going to represent the youngest sibling, okay? So if we were to add the age of the youngest sibling, X, plus, who would be next? Well, that would be the middle sibling. If all of their ages are consecutive, let's say X is 6. What would come after that? Well, you would say 7. How do we get from 6 to 7? Well, we add 1. Okay, let's say this youngest sibling is 10. What would come next? 11. Well, how do we get from 10 to 11? We add 1. So if the youngest sibling is X, that means the next sibling is X plus 1. Okay, so let's again say the youngest is 10. X plus 1, that would be, if X is 10, that would make this sibling 11. What would come next? Well, that sibling would have to be 12. If the youngest sibling was 6, that means the next one would be 7. Means the next one would be 8. Well, how do we get from the youngest sibling to the oldest sibling? Well, if they're all consecutive, we would add another 1 plus 1. So youngest, the next older student would be their same age plus 1. The next older sibling would be that same sibling plus 2. Okay, because we have X is the youngest. Consecutive means in a row. So the next sibling would be the same age plus 1, and the next sibling would be the same age plus 2. So algebraically, how we would solve this, we would combine like terms. We have X, X, X. If we add those together, that gives us 3X. And then we would add this 1 plus 2, which is 3. So now we have a 2-step equation of 3x plus 3 equals 39. So solving my 2-step equation, I'd subtract 3 from both sides. These cancel out, which leaves me with 3x equals 39 minus 3 is 36. If I'm solving for x, I have to do the inverse operation. So I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3. These cancel out. 36 divided by 3 is 12. So that means x equals 12. So if the youngest child is 12, that means the next child would be 13, which means the next child, 12 plus 2, would have to be 14. Is 12, 13, and 14 consecutive? Yes, they all go in a row. Do they add up to 39? Well, 12 plus 13 is 25. 25 plus 14 is 39. So we did it correct. The youngest child, or the youngest sibling, is 12 years old. Our second example, a student bought 2 juice boxes for $1.25 each and 3 bags of chips. The total cost was $5.05. Write and solve an equation to determine the cost of the bag of chips, C. So C here, C equals the cost of one bag of chips. We're trying to figure out, what does that one bag of chips cost? Well, we need to use variables to represent these quantities and write an equation. So I'm going to start off with the information that I know. A student bought 2 juice boxes for $1.25. So that means, how much did they spend on juice boxes? Well, we would multiply 2 times $1.25. I would show that as 2 times $1.25. That's what they spent on these juice boxes. They also spent money on 3 bags of chips. So here they're buying. The total cost, the total tells us that if we were to add all of these together, it would come out to $5.05. So I'm going to add here the juice boxes to the bags of chips. Now, I don't know what the bag of chips cost. We're calling that C. So if we bought 1 bag of chips, we'd call that C. If we bought 2 bags of chips, we'd call that 2C. And we're buying 3 bags of chips, so we would call that 3C, 3 times the cost of 1 bag of chips. The total cost was $5.05. So you can see how I wrote this equation of the juice boxes, 2 for $1.25, plus the 3 bags of chips, which we don't know, equals $5.05. So now I have a 2-step equation on my hands. And the first thing I'm going to do is follow my order of operations. Parentheses, we just have a number there, no exponents, but I do have multiplication. So I'm going to be multiplying this 2 times $1.25, which comes out to $2.50 plus 3C equals $5.05. When we have a 2-step equation, we practiced last week that the first thing we need to undo is the addition or subtraction. So here we are adding these 2. I could switch the order around if I wanted to, if it makes more sense for you to write 3C plus 250 equals $5.05. That's the same thing, we're just adding. But there you can clearly see that to get rid of this 250, I'm gonna have to subtract. These cancel out. So now I have 3C equals $5.05 minus 250 is $2.55. And in order to solve for C, I'm gonna have to divide by 3. And let's see, I believe that comes out to 85 cents. That was in my head, so let's check that. So if the cost of 1 bag of chips is 85 cents, that means, running out of a little bit of room here, 85 times 3, yep, 255. So the cost of 1 bag of chips is 85 cents. Is that what it asked us to do? Well, it asked us to write an equation. Here's our equation that we wrote. And then I solved the equation to determine the cost of a bag of chips. Yes, I did. The cost of a bag of chips is 85 cents. Okay, and that is how we do that.